So, at the start of the next session, I've got two very important notes at the top here. One is that we really need to heal 9 because holy crap, he's going to go berserk and wreck us. And two, we maybe even more than that, we need to talk to Orin about fireballs.
Okay, I just read ahead a little on this page, and I think earlier we missed one thing in the notes, because this says party asks Thane about his disguise. So there was a thing in the water room where we found like a puddle of water, like not like 10 feet deep or something, and we were able to just skirt around it. But Thane and Diley wanted to check out what was on the bottom. And Thane tried to dive down and I think rolled like a 1 on the swim check. And when he surfaced from his little aquatic escapade, his face was melting.
Mm-hmm.
His snout was coming off.
He definitely did not look like himself, that's for sure.
Yeah. And Dyler did not seem surprised by this at all. But everyone else was a little concerned about that.
Did we see anything under that, or did we just see that the dragonborn parts of him was sloughing off as makeup?
I think it was the latter, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
I guess I don't understand the difference between the two that you just said.
Did we see a definite other creature beneath the makeup, or was it or creature, person, species?
Or what's the other option?
Or was it just that we see makeup coming off, and then we don't get to see what it's coming off of, and that you covered yourself?
Like, do we see a fake mustache that's clearly askew and sideways?
Clearly, the dragonborn makeup was not covering a void of darkness.
Right. That is accurate.
Was that face revealed, or was it was over a tabaxi, or was it just that we see it sloughing and then you cover your face and we don't see?
I would say you didn't get a good look. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's what I was curious if we got any information there, if it was just cool.
We definitely got some information that.
Yeah.
Dragonsborn's some mouths sometimes melt in water.
Yeah, exactly. Only the blue kinds.
So then, from that point on, you were just you were until otherwise stated in the notes, maybe you were just covering your face pretty well.
I'm pretty sure that Thane changed his shape and form pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, I think we had some time, and I reformed.
I feel like we rested by that water as well. Is that?
Well, I think that's definitely correct.
Yeah, we jumped ahead a little bit, but yeah, we have a note about a short rest in there.
And I think you took on a Warforged disguise at this point. That's what my brain tells me.
I honestly don't remember which ones I do when. I'm sorry.
Well, since there wasn't really any story point, it's probably worth telling Kelly. To this day, because we make a note of it here, they ask about my disguise. I dodge, and we're talking about it now. Only Scout.
He physically dodged the question.
In and out of universe, only Scout/Dailu and Paul/Thane know what or who Thane is. Thane sometimes in the morning is a tabaxi, sometimes they're a dwarf, sometimes they're a water genasi, sometimes they're a dragonborn. I have no idea how or why. It haunts me to this day. Continue to. And
step 1, Alfin because dog. Step 2, Thane.
Yeah, if Thane gets killed in a way that destroys his body, it will be the greatest sadness because I will lose a friend and a mystery will never be solved. I will search his corpse thoroughly for the truth if you die before me.
Oh my god. That would be amazing if I get left behind on a ship and fall in and die.
I will probe the depths of Dailu's mind until she has gone insane if I do not have this answered before you die.
And that's the beginning of the end of the Frost Daggers.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
This is
the beginning of the end happened a long time ago.
But yeah, so important to note, I have no idea. No one knows what is going on there, and up until current game, it won't be answered. So there you go.
Friendship.
This was also the point where it went from like, okay, we've been thrown together, to the rest of the party having a little bit of a like, we don't know who Thane and Dailu are.
And
Santo's
there's
also
definitely
here.
suspicion cast.
that stays between Orn and Thane for a long time, and is still there, but Orn apologizes for being a dick at one point. But, like, the fact that I don't know who Thane is, I only trust Thane because, like, 50-50, Dailu is so trusting of Thane, and Thane has, like, always been a really good party member, but I still don't know who he is. So, there's a wall there.
That's great, and I love it.
wild theory. Thane or Rurik was Thane the whole time.
I swear to
no.
God, if you're
Oh my God,
Elfin, I'm
why-
gonna be so upset.
That's going in the channel right now.
I think part of why Vayne is so totally fine with Thane is just because, like, he's so honestly in disguise.
Yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't hide it. He just shows up, and one day he's a full-on tabaxi. Which at first I was just like, oh, he's wearing makeup or stuff. But then Jared was like, a dwarf one time. It was like a completely different height creature appears. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
different ages, like
Yeah.
completely different creatures. I remember that this did come up a couple times. Was every time Thane was knocked out in this dungeon, he turned into a different creature. And that led to a lot of people being like, our friend who was a Warforged has just collapsed and is now a Tabaxi.
Yeah, but it's not like they revert to a tabaxi every time they're knocked out. Like, that would be helpful information.
Nope, it's a mystery.
But anyways, that's my rant on longtime friend and party member Thane Thornskull.
Very important.
I don't even
But
think
does
the
this
rest of the
troll
party.
really have thorns? We'll never know.
Actually, yeah, the
would
party
say-
doesn't know Thornskull. That's just the name that I know because Paul put that on the sheet, but that's not party member information.
Yep.
Thornskull? You guys would know his last name.
Well, you
Oh.
you called the Google. We would know his last name.
Yeah.
It's definitely never come up, but if you want to say that it's been said elsewhere, I learned that his last name was Thornskull when you shared these documents called Thane Thornskull.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I always introduce my characters as their full name.
Maybe I don't remember. I was grieving. That's probably the.
Yeah, there you go.
I
Yeah.
also learned Thane's last name when you shared that.
Same.
Canonically, Orin does
No.
not know Thane's last name 100%.
All right.
I'm not actually. I think what happened with our introduction is that you weren't sure if we were people that you could speak to. Honestly, when first introduced, because you were like agents showing up to report, and there were some suspicious people around, and then got introduced to the Frost Daggers, and I think we mostly.
I was gushing about you guys, so there's
Yeah,
no
but-
way I would have been like, I don't trust them.
No, but
Well,
legitimately,
I think you skipped
in
from 0 to
character.
100.
Yeah, I think in character, legitimately, you were just like, I'm Thane, this is Dailu, we're huge fan. Like, I don't think there was ever
Yeah.
like a formal like Thane Thornskull.
Maybe. I don't know.
That is good to know though, because I thought it was a secret because I hadn't known it before. So I've been having Dailu avoid ever saying Thane's last name, except the one time they were alone in the Fey dimension.
Huh. Okay.
But if that shouldn't be a secret, then Dailu would.
I
say
swear
it.
you've called me Mr. Thornskull before, but maybe that was...
That was in the Fey dimension.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
Up on
That's
that.
actually really funny because that
That'd
implies
be
like
awesome.
the rest of the group has just adapted, just assumed that it's another secret to
Well,
not pry into.
no, I just thought of it like
That's great.
Vanaya doesn't have a last name.
Yep.
Their name is Thane, you know? Vanaya.
Yep.
Actually, I thought it was a Dragonborn thing. I was like, alright, that's Vanaya and Thane.
I'm giving you hints to who I really am.
Anyways, back
okay.
on story track.
Yes. Oh, I don't know if we ever explicitly mentioned this, but back in the orb room that had all the color orbs, we had to break all of them.
We did.
broke every
broke
single one of
every
them.
single one.
And the solution was in the last one. We had to break the last one had the way to get out.
Yeah. To be clear, if we had broken that one first, it would have been a very short puzzle. But we managed to go through all of them in the exact wrong order. That's
Even
the
when
kind
we
of
were
party we are.
Yeah, even when we were trying to figure it out, we were like, well, maybe it's this one. Well, maybe it's this one. We've got a 50-50 shot. Maybe this one. No, just wrong.
We're down to the last few. We gotta break them all now.
That was
But we went back there specifically because we knew it was a dead end, and we were hoping that we could get a long rest because we were pretty well wrecked at
Yeah.
this point.
Yes.
It's true.
So we tried the long rest, and then not immediately, after 20 minutes, bugbears attacked us, and we had to defeat them. And then we tried to rest again, and then we heard clawing on the door after 40 minutes. So we were like, all right, let's try and take a short rest. But a slime appeared and interrupted it, and we killed it. And eventually we got a short rest.
We skipped a really
Crap.
important note, you guys. Remember back when I mentioned that the dude whose skull arrived here with us, that was dead, had his stuff, and that stuff arrived with him?
Mhm.
Within that stuff was something that he had given to us
Oh, yeah.
when he first rescued us from Alton. He fed us all something called a Legwin's draft, I
Gwyn's
think.
draft.
And it healed us up, and that's when the plant zombified triumvirate showed up, and we got all shunted through shenanigans to the White Plume Mountain, and found his skull lying there, and Sato was with us, and his stuff was here, and in his stuff was more Lagoon
Legwyn's
draft.
draft.
Legwin's draft. I literally forgot the name of it throughout that summary. But the Legwin's draft had the effect of it gave the effects of a long rest over the course of 5 minutes, I think.
10 minutes, but...
10 minutes.
Nope.
I think it's 5.
Oh, I need to change my spell sheet. I still have one.
Yep. We still have 3 of 6, I think, because we're
Yeah, like
through
we
the
like
Hoarders.
a couple of y'all
Yeah.
used because I feel like Vane and a couple other people would get so much back on a short rest that they didn't feel like a long rest was really necessary. But spellcasters, for example, need a long rest to get everything back. So we were able to get away with not using all of them.
We
Yep.
basically were like, Orin, here are your drafts, and I think Vanaya had one at one
I
point,
think
maybe.
so. Yeah.
But I think since everyone else didn't require long rest for most of their features, we were just like, well, we'll just tough it out and hurt.
hmm
So we still kept a number of them, post everything that happens here, but we use them a couple times here.
Yeah.
Mostly on Orin, because Orin has the magic touch that needs to be
Yeah.
replenished.
So many spell slots.
Why did we find out about vampires? I know why we were talking about vampires eventually, but why did we stop here and try and get information on vampires?
To meet
can
a
you scroll up?
vampire?
I remember, I think,
Did Rossi tell us?
it was either Rossi or Nine at one point told us about people who had come through before,
Yeah.
and I think that they were killed by a vampire.
Gotcha.
One of those two things told us about vampires.
Well, and then we did a check
thought we-
and got information about them. Like,
I thought we had asked Nine, like, what sort of things exist in White Plume Mountain. Wasn't that what it was?
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we got info about vampires. We left Nine in that room, and just said, "Defend yourself, but don't attack us," and just kind of left him behind because I think he was just becoming a bit of a burden health-wise, and we...
Yeah, he was very close to enraging, and if he enraged, it meant he would attack anything, including us. So we were like, well, sorry, buddy, you gotta stay here.
Tracy only had so many charges per day of the lightning breath, I think.
I have 1 lightning breath use per day.
Yeah, and it was like 1/10 of the healing would need to, so we just left him behind.
Yeah.
So then we went to the metal melting hallway, and the first thing we tried was using that waves don't let anything through force cube, but metal still heated up as we were holding it. And then
That
Thane
seemed
made
like
a
the
mistake.
idea.
I didn't make a mistake. Thane makes a mistake. Would you like to describe what happens next, Paul?
I haven't read ahead. Okay,
Thane does not make a mistake here. Thane does good.
No. Afterwards, you'll see.
Okay, I'm just gonna start reading. Thane takes off his gear and scouts ahead of the metal melt room. As Thane gets to the end and starts heading up the stairs, Sato shouts back, "He's gone too far." And as he
Sato
does,
makes a mistake.
or as she
Yeah.
does,
Oh,
Yep.
no, never mind. I thought Thane had gone too far ahead. Sato had warned us, and then at that point, Thane. Oh, I know. Sato yells he's gone too far, and the noise of Sato yelling that,
Yep.
8 undead
Yeah.
pop out of the secret pit.
Yep.
Damn it! I
Thane,
thought I cut Paul in a
I
mistake.
can't believe you would ever think that Thane would make a mistake. That is
Yeah,
No,
Thane-
it's not thinking. It's hoping because.
So yeah, after Sato shouts back, "He's gone too far," 8-ish undead pop out of a secret passage near Thane, if I remember right. So
Yeah.
Thane, now without his armor or any metal of any kind, so no daggers, now 8 undead pop out. You know, why not? So Orin, learning how to use fireballs most of them.
I think Orin learning nothing fireballs most of them.
And then we have Orin port over our gear with a dimension door.
Yeah, basically everybody dumped anything metal, and I just stuck it all in my pockets in my belt and just piled myself up and dimension doored myself to the other side, and then everybody just walked across.
This is a notable first in-character conflict between Dailu and Satu. Dailu is going down the list of party members to have conflicts with at this point. Dailu's whole spiel is that Thane is the person she cares about most in the world, and Sato jeopardizing him. Basically, as soon as the fight was over, Dailu was like, "Hey, Sato, if you..."
That was really tense. Yeah.
Yeah, it
was
was.
really tense, because Sato was like, well, he went too far, and Dailu was like, fucking trust him, and also, if you get him killed, I will murder you.
Yep.
This is your life on the line now, not his. Like, and Sato was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Moving on.
In typical Sato fashion. Okay,
Yeah.
let's
All
go.
right.
What is this pit boss? I don't remember this pit boss.
This this was the
Oh, I get it. This is the hilarious
slippery
Three
pit.
Stooges.
I don't remember how many there were, but yeah, there were like chunks of earth or whatever separated, you know, basically making some pits.
Yeah, it was basically there's the stairs. There's a spot here that you can stand on, and everything's fine. There's some walls. There's now a pit. There's a pit. There's got spikes down here. Some not good right looking spikes. Could probably use some cleaning and maintenance. And then there is something with a platform that goes for quite some distance that has this like sheen to it that makes it seem like super duper slippery. I remember, I think I even did detect magic and we're like, yeah, this is like magically slippery. If I remember correctly.
That sounds about right.
And then there is a pit of on the other side as well. And then there's the passageway past the second pit. So it goes place where we are, pit, slippery, long space, pit, and then destination on the other side of the pit. And this was great.
This was pretty entertaining.
I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember it being another like Benny Hill moment, and that's why I
There were
wrote down we
like,
lose to Pit Boss.
Misty steps.
There were
There was
Like,
one more part of
used,
this.
we used a rope. It was a rope thing.
Mhm.
Vane and I both used Misty steps to get across without actually like moving or incurring momentum, and so we were able to secure a rope to the other side that we could
But-
use to pull ourselves along.
I think
Right?
that's correct. I think that's correct, but I think Jared had also mentioned like you tried to hammer something in, but
yes.
it caused you to get pushed or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was
Zero
a plan.
It was like, was it one of you that was talking about the screwing a thing in the space station?
Oh, it was Jared.
Jared brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically like that. It's like
That's funny.
anything you do will move you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, our plan was we jump, we slide, and then we misty step over the second pit.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was also one other thing that we forgot to mention, and I forget if this was visible or not, but Sato tried to go over there and fly, and that did not work. I think there was some sort of anti.
Yeah, there was like an anti-magic something, so Sato couldn't fly.
Yeah.
Yep. but I remember multiple people fell down into the pit.
Yes, Vinaya definitely face planted once, at least for sure.
But thankfully, despite the fact that those spikes were disease-ridden, Vinaya was able.
Paladins,
Yeah,
immune
Vinaya
to disease.
immune to disease, and I believe your lay on hands at that point was curing diseases or curing
It
this
was
particular
it was
condition.
it was capable of that, yes. So
And
I
so
was
we
able
were
to
able
cure other
to
flies. Get your
avoid.
tetanus shots.
We were able to avoid additional consequences
Shot,
accruing.
shot.
Exactly. My God, I have to commission my friend who has drawn Vinaya a couple times now to get one of her with her sleeve pulled up, like when you get a vaccine and you take a
Yeah.
selfie with the band-aid. So she's like that, and it's like get your shots.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
I'm gonna do it.
Oh, that's great.
I lost my sewing needle. Oh, there it is. We're fine.
Oh no, yeah.
We're good.
Series that is like
Um,
that's Vinaya's, and then we have a shots from the vein shooting an arrow, and then another one with Dailu
Yeah.
and Thane and Orin just doing shots. Cute. This whole
Yep.
sequence really started the trend of the party doing puzzles that were like math and or physics based, while Dailu sits on the floor looking like she has a headache, making woman confused by math meme face.
Yeah.
But we eventually do enact the rope plan, which I think was the go Misty Step at the end to get to the other side, and then we had the rope that we were able to get everybody across on. Because we had it like affixed to both sides that it was fine on. And then we go to the next room, and it's the inverted ziggurat, which I'm gonna pull up the riddle there. Or not riddle, you know what I mean. Black razor yet remains to be won, neath ziggurat deep inverted. And this was an interesting one. This was a very prolonged room.
You okay, Kelly?
Oh yeah, sorry. Am I not muted? My bad.
No, you're good. This was an interesting room because it was like a boss fight kind of. It was this giant inverted ziggurat, like filled with layers of different terrain. So like there were layers that were filled with water and open on the top.
They had
There
like
were
glass
layers,
sides and
and there were layers that were like jungly things, and it all different like giant not monsters, like giant animals. And I guess some monsters, like there were manticores and stuff.
nasty
But
monsters.
it was mostly just huge animals.
Right. I think like
Importantly, the manticores at the bottom had their wings clipped.
Yes.
that's right. Yeah.
And we got through this room in style, I think.
We were pretty. I took a flying potion.
I feel like we cheated.
We
How
did,
did we
absolutely.
cheat? I
We
think
did.
we solved a puzzle.
Eh,
We broke the glass and flooded part of it so
Mhm.
that some of the things that were like in the water, like the crayfish maybe, so that they would die or not be able to attack. I don't
We
think that's
messed up
cheating.
the
I think that's
crayfish.
being smart.
We meshed up the crayfish doing that, and then we drowned the scorpions.
Yeah.
I posted an image in last night on Torchline. It shows a model of kind of what we're describing that somebody made, but it's they're stepping down into.
Yes.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah. So that's what we were dealing with, looking down on that. And like you were safe from most things on the levels like that you weren't fighting on, but some of them could jump. They did a lot of damage, so it was a fight where we could kind of take our own pace through it, but it was also pretty dangerous. And we wound up,
Oh, go ahead.
we wound up just kind of getting in it. I remember it got very chaotic, and party members were on many different levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started out going through it pretty meticulously.
Our target discipline, as they say, was bad.
Well, I also
Yeah.
remember it being kind of like, after a while, Jared even looked a little bit like this was a fun thing, but after about like the 40th round of combat, it was kind of like, all right, we attack these ones and we flood this over. Did we end up flooding it?
Yeah, that was the first
partially
thing.
flooded it.
Yeah, I think we flooded the scorpions with the one above it, And
Yep. We
break
break
the
the
glass
glass
and
and
drop
then
down the scorpions.
once we got to the manticores, that's where because we managed to kind of avoid any direct one-on-ones until we got to the manticores, and that's where things got a little bit trickier.
Yeah, because some of us engaged the manticores much sooner. I
I
think.
think
others.
Sato flew in or was like flying and through things
Yeah.
and did fly or something like that.
Yep. If I recall correctly, I think that's what it was. I think Sato got a little too close. They jumped up and like
Jumped, yeah.
yeah, and then I think Vanaya went down to save him, and then I think Vayne like Misty stepped over to help too, and I think both Thane and Dailu got caught up with some sea lions. I remember one moment of like
yes.
riding the sea lion gloriously. Well, I
I
think
remember Thane getting grabbed by one and Dilute jumping on it. Or maybe vice versa. Like, and there was something with like prepared shots where we were like waiting for them to jump out of the water and shooting them.
Definitely that, yeah.
It was a chaos fight. My favorite thing about this fight though was the outcome of it being we had killed like, you know,
so many things.
dozens of large animals, and we hadn't managed to take a long rest. You were not supposed to really be able to take long rests in White Plume Mountain. That's why there were all these random encounters to kind of like break up rest chunks. But we figured out like this was a total dead end. We had taken out everything except this final door at the bottom of the pit. And so we just carried all of the corpses up to the giant doors we'd come from and barricaded it under this like giant mountain of dead bodies.
Like manticores and like
sat at the-
human-sized sea lions, and yeah.
Yeah. And
A
just
very-
sat at the bottom of the pit and rested.
A very Frost Daggers thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it totally
This-
worked.
and that marks the first like actual long rest that wasn't Legume's draft
Yeah.
that Vayne has had since his death.
Oh, God.
Poor tired
Vayne.
Vayne.
So then after the long rest, we go into that. It says we open a safe in this room. Oh, was there a safe in the room with the
Yeah.
Manticore stuff? Yeah, and it just had money in it. We go through and we find a halfling. And is this the room where everything looked giant-sized?
I think
Yes.
so, yeah.
Yeah, so everything looks way too large for us, let alone the halfling that's in here. And the halfling says it's cursed, and that pretty immediately, I think Dailu, because Dailu has always had a necklace item that is a medallion of detect thoughts. And so Dailu read its mind and realized that it's lying, it's not cursed, and it's not actually even a halfling. And so Vanaya, knowing what we're looking for, just goes to push past it, and it transforms into a large oni, which is a ogre mage, basically. Yes.
Thane goes in. Thane goes in and gets the treasure.
Yep.
Yeah.
The most perfect treasure of all.
Yes,
And
indeed.
what's so great in this, yeah,
Oh my
this
God.
this fight is fantastic because this is the first time I think that we obliterate them before they have a chance.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, he shapeshifts into Oni form. Combat starts. We roll great initiatives. Thane goes for the chest immediately, and then the rest of us like crit, annihilate.
Yeah.
I think we
And
probably crit sneak attack somewhere in there.
I think
Yeah.
so.
well, multiple crits mentioned here.
Yeah, but they were dead before they attacked.
And I feel like they got one turn and missed.
That's about right. That poor Oni.
I remember afterward Jared just being like, "What the hell?" Like, it's like the crab didn't do anything, the Oni didn't do anything. What's going on?
Our DPS plus CC is pretty good with
Yeah.
this composition.
I mean, that's because we foregoed the surgeon, and so we're
Forewent.
for DPS.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have really good DPS in this party, but not great
Ugh.
livability.
Yeah,
I
we're
tried.
down.
You know what?
Um,
Vanaya holds most of the livability of the group.
I
Whoa,
do.
whoa, whoa. If the enemy's dead, we've got plenty of survivability.
I hold all of your tiny squishy limes in my big bronze hands.
That's why
And
I'm saying we need.
none of you should forget it.
I feel like this is about where Jared started to realize that the way to destroy us was not through combat, it was through our feelings.
Yeah.
Speaking of, then Thane got to talk to Black Razor, the
Oh man.
beautiful void sword in this room.
So in this chest that Thane acquires from beneath the
The
couch
Yeah.
as the Oni's body collapses to the ground.
Yeah, I come out. I'm like, it's okay, guys. I'm good. Oh, it's down.
He opens it up and actually, do you open the chest underneath the couch?
I think it was a bed, but yes.
The bed.
Yeah, I think Thane went and got it like still mid combat, and then
Yeah.
like came out as it was ending.
My thought was the wave allowed us to like survive that encounter. Okay, maybe this will help us kill whatever this thing is. And so I
Yeah.
with the sword, and I'm like, oh, it's dead. Oh, okay, well, maybe not.
How was that first talk with Black Razor? Because I think that was one that happened off screen, Paul.
I don't think it was. I think that was in front of all of us.
Yeah,
I
because
think
Wave
we were-
happened in front of everybody too. I think it was.
I
like
think
a-
it was pretty
Okay.
like I don't think Thane really drew out anything from it in terms of like took it at face value, right?
Yeah, and I feel like I wrote down the thoughts here, which is that it just basically said everything's pointless, everyone's gonna die, it's hungry.
Right. He's Black Razor is sort of initiating some moral questioning on the nature of life and death that Thane is kind of blasé about. If I recall.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Thane's just kind of like, yeah, okay, sword. Are you a
And-
sword? Are you
and
sword
And we
with
get a
me?
nice immediate insight into what it does here as
Mhm. Right,
it
because
prompts for the
Black Razor, I think, realizes that Thane can't actually wield a greatsword. Is
Oh
that
no, not yet, not yet.
not yet? Okay.
First it goes, hey, as is in Paul's notes, I want to eat that Oni over there.
Oh, this. Yes.
And Thane's like, sure, and stabs the corpse, and we see it like get desiccated and obliterated by the sword eating it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
Black
worth
Razor-
noting also, Black Razor is a large great sword, but it's also black, obviously, but it's black in a way that it almost looks like kind of wherever you're moving it, you're looking into space a little bit. Is that accurate? Like it's not so much black as it is like a three-dimensional void into nothingness.
It's
Yeah.
it's like the weird textures in games that like stay still as you move the camera.
Yes. So at this point, we find a chest with some armor in it.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah.
Thane
Thane,
and
or
I
yeah. Go ahead.
do a three-way arm wrestling contest, which Dylan wins. Fuck yeah. It's her armor. She takes it, she puts it on, she's going to tune to it. It's great. It's enchanted in some way.
I am
Meanwhile,
Come back to that in a minute.
Thane
Because-
is very jealous that Dailu gets the super cool armor.
Hmm. But at least he's
Man.
got a super cool sword, right?
What's the worst that could happen?
A super
And-
cool sword that he can't use.
And then the upon losing the arm wrestle,
Oh,
Thane
that's
is
right.
prompted by
That's
Black
why.
Razor.
That's why Black Razor is pissed because Thane lost.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because Thane lost the arm wrestle, Black Razor's like, huh, you're not the strongest one here. I'm not okay being with you.
Mhm. Yep.
Give me
And,
a
and so then it's Black Razor and I in this void space having this conversation that I really wish I had a better memory because I don't. I just remember that Vinaya was in fact very interested in discussing morality with this sword that thinks that it's doing a good thing by plucking souls out of the cycle of reincarnation and destroying them into the void. Vinaya's not okay with this.
Did it kick off with that, or was it kind of just like, yeah, I eat souls, and you were like, well, we have
No,
some people we need to kill?
I think it came up in this initial conversation, but
Yeah.
I do not think it was the initiation. I think I I think it was I think we really only just touched on it, and it was something that Vinaya continued to bring up in ensuing conversations as well.
Mhm. Gotcha. So yeah, at this point, Vinaya, who, like you said, is the kind of the tenet of their religion is reincarnation, and the soul goes up or down based on the quality of the person in life. And
Right.
this sword is
It's
like,
pretty
well,
much, yeah.
that's cool, but also life is pointless, and I'm just gonna send souls into oblivion, and that's how I eat and feed myself. So as long as you'll have me, that's what I'm gonna do. And Vinaya's like, well, that sounds suspicious and bad, but we need you to get out of here, and maybe I can change your mind, and maybe I can kill animals. Who knows? And
I wanna note one thing in there that I, I don't think Black Razor has ever justified it as I need to eat, so I will eat these, so much as they've always justified it as an external drive
yeah,
of like it would be the right thing for me to send these to the void. We have seen that it is clearly taking some joy from doing that in the act
Yeah,
of
and
doing it.
Black
Um,
Razor says that it needs to feed. I
yes.
mean, that is something that it has said to me before
Mhm.
when these contests come up.
but it does also justify it in saying like, and also like
Yeah, also what I'm
this is
doing
what
is
things
good and
should go
right.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
things should return to nothing.
Yeah. Just like whenever it's pressured, that's what it goes to. It doesn't go, well, I'm gonna die if I don't eat.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think that
that's clearly not true because it's sat in
yeah.
a box for who knows how many years. And has
Um,
also sat in a box for a few months. And we know it's still there.
um, yes. And then yeah, Vane does a non-fruitful investigation of the room, and then we get a great short rest that no one will be dissatisfied with.
That's where we get
No
Black Razor
regrets
talk,
incoming.
and Orin talks a little bit with I think Orin attuned to Wave before and gets a little bit more of the like, hey, if you're if you want to be with me, we're gonna spread the word of the God of Roads, right? And it's like, yeah, that sounds like great theology to spread. You're on a ride, hold on where you can and get where you're going. And so Orin agrees to kind of like spread that word once we're out of the mountain. And then Dailu puts on her armor.